Well, I sold my Pantheon Supersonic to make room for the SuperDuperSonic. Was it worth it? Honestly, I had no issues with my Supersonic at all. And even though I did things to that board, it still worked perfectly. I mainly upgraded because I just wanted to. I prefer the new graphic and wanted to try the bamboo flex. My first impression? It's a Supersonic. It was great, and this one is also great. But to get into the details of what exactly changed, I invited Jeff to answer some of my questions about the new deck. I'll put in timestamps in the video, so you can just skip to the topic you want to. The first question I wanted to know is why you should upgrade to the SuperDuperSonic. SuperDuperSonic still uses the bamboo construction. Did anything change from the bamboo construction? And for the people that haven't tried the bamboo construction, what are they going to expect when upgrading from the maple board?
The board is different than the original bamboo. Basically what I've been trying to do with this deck since we started it is to just incrementally make it better. I guess that's obvious, but the 7-ply maple, we're asking a lot of the wood to make these curvatures. I would say this is probably some of the most intense curvature of any skateboard in the entire skateboard industry right now. And so, it's a push. And sometimes you don't really know exactly where you're at with a board without really putting it out there and seeing like a lot of numbers. I mean, I can send it to seven different riders, and if I send a board to Titus, for example, in New York, he's going to break half of the decks that he touches anyway, because he just rides so freaking hard. He just breaks everything. He breaks wheels and he breaks boards and he's a great tester, but at the same time, that's like not really a benchmark for how most people are going to ride a board, right? So the 7-ply, it did great under testing, and then we put it out in the market, and it still, it did great. Sounds like it handled you just fine. However, obviously, like, we're searching for perfection, as close to it as we can get. And I would say the cross plies in the maple version, they split more easily than I would have liked to see a board. We would see the tail break off at that intense downward curvature in the back. Again, not a lot of boards. I would say probably 90% of people who bought those boards are still riding them. But and we're asking a lot of these. These riders, these are people who are putting 1,000 miles on a board and stuff sometimes. So I feel like people got their money's worth out of these decks. However, of course, we still want it to be better. So the bamboo was an attempt to reduce the number of glue lines in the board. That was the primary purpose of that construction change, was to reduce glue lines, because the glue lines are the weak point of these boards. It's the specifically it's like the cross plies. The cross ply glue lines it really is like the cross ply itself. Sometimes you'll see a delamination, and it always looks the same out of a cross ply. It's like zigzag across the ply. Basically, the ply just tries to just rip apart. And so, but cross plies are important. They're good for providing, putting structure in the board and guarding against torsional flex and helps with longevity. But it's the weak point. So we were trying to reduce cross plies. Basically, I got it down to one cross ply. And
where is it?
In the bamboo version.
Okay.
And it's in the middle. It's the dyed ply in the bamboo version. So the new version, both the light flex and the medium flex actually completely get rid of the cross ply entirely.
Yeah, I see.
And what we did on that deck is we put fiberglass. We put another layer of biaxial fiberglass in between the two bamboo layers.
I get it.
So when we did the bamboo version, we offered 3 different flexes, and we varied the flex by the thickness of the bamboo, because the distance between the top and bottom composite layers it's the primary driver of how much flex is going to be in this board.
Okay.
So widening that increasing the distance between the top and bottom is the way that we give the board more stiffness. So yeah, essentially the entire process of going from one to the next is just us trying to make the board more and more reliable over time. And that's where you've got I think you have a medium flex or a light flex.
Yeah, I have a medium flex.
Medium flex. Okay, so yeah, that has the thickness of the bamboo of the stiff flex from the previous rendition, but then we get rid of the maple in between, so you're back down to a medium flex essentially. Riders are going to notice this version is a little bit more damp than the previous bamboo version. I would say the previous bamboo version was a little bit more springy. And that maple version that you had, I would say, is probably the dampest version of all of the decks. But I would say that board lacked the energy that this board now carries.
One of the questions I get the most is, I weigh this much, which flex should I get? So I just asked it. Questions I often get is, or at least people probably ask you as well, to clear this out of the way, they are asking, hey, I weigh about this much, which board should I get for which ride feeling? So I'm not sure. I weigh about 75 kilograms, and I would say I would be afraid to go for the lightest flex version. I just assume it would be a little too much for me. What would you say is something that the average rider, lighter, medium, or heavy rider would like to have in a board?
Okay. I got it. So you're 165 pounds, right?
Yeah.
2.2 is the conversion. So, yeah, at 75 kilograms, you're right. You're on the upper side of the soft flex, but a lot of riders that I know really prefer the soft flex at your weight. So I don't want to do kilograms because I'm gonna mess this up.
Oh, we're good.
I can do the conversion. But basically, I would say if you're under 170 pounds, you probably want the light flex unless you want more stability. So I would typically recommend the light flex for you. However, if you're a rider who prefers more stability, less bounce, you may want to go for the medium. So typically under 170 pounds, I'll say light flex. If you're somewhere between like 150 to I don't know, maybe 200, 205, somewhere around there, that's like medium flex territory. You could probably even get away with it, up to 220, but that's pushing it. Obviously, everything is like, if you're on the low side, it's going to be stiffer. You're on the high side, it's going to be softer. Now, then once you get up to that next level, it's like, do I want a stiffer deck or do I want a soft deck? And so there's a lot of overlap here. So for you, a medium may work for your riding style, and I definitely would not put you on a stiff flex for pretty much any reason. But yeah, I would say like 160, 170 to low 200s, medium flex, 190 to, and I don't know where the max is yet. I mean, this is kind of where we just see how things go. I sent an IGIS heavy flex to Jesus Cinco, and we're seeing how he does. I can't remember how much he weighs. I want to say it's like 250-ish or something like that. Right? So yeah, he puts a ton of miles on decks. So I think we just see how it goes, and so far he says it's great.
But what about really heavy guys, like 300 pounds?
I think if you rode the IGIS in the heavy flex at 300 pounds, you're probably going to be just fine. But if you want to be like really on the safe side, the Quest, if you are a pusher and you want a little bit of flex, and the Nexus if you really, really want the board to feel sturdy.
One of the main difference from the old Supersonic is the addition of Wheelwells. How did they come about?
Yeah, well, I mean, in a perfect world, I would have developed Wheelwells from the start. It felt very risky
Mm-hmm.
to me, mostly because that is such a complex shape. Cutting that board with the CNC machine and making sure that all your registrations are perfect and that, the CNC machine has the capability of following the curvature and really cutting the way as it's designed.
Mm-hmm.
And then getting, your different thicknesses from your soft flex to your medium flex to your hard flex.
Mm-hmm.
You want you really need this board to be consistent, and repeatability is really important in manufacturing. So we avoided the wheel wells and just chose to make the board slimmer to start.
Mm-hmm.
And and honestly, I didn't know that I was ever going to put wheel wells on. I think the previous versions really were high performers, but um, I have had some requests to put wheel wells on it from a handful of people. I mean, I'm listening, and some of our top writers were doing it themselves. Adam put wheel wells in his
Mm-hmm.
deck himself, and my buddy Gavin, who I trust. These are kind of like my top opinion guys. It's just like they've written everything and they give me opinions on everything that we put out there, distance related. And so between those close people and myself, I mean, obviously it's just like you're weighing what makes sense. And I didn't want to just put wheel wells in the deck as it was, which is
Mm-hmm.
what those guys were doing, because I knew that was going to reduce the total volume of wood in these very important structural areas of the
Mm-hmm.
board. So it really was going to take like a ground up change, and so we widened the neck and widened the tail,
Mm-hmm.
and that helped to compensate for the structural loss that we took out, by removing material in those really important areas.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
so it does make a really substantial difference though in the ride, and really it kind of takes that board to that next space where I feel like we reached we reached that with the pranayama. I would say we are so close to being there at this point with the SuperDuperSonic, and just where the board when it comes out, it's just perfect just the way that it is, and we're working towards that. At this point, I think the only thing that I would really like to see changed is just the truck. I think the board has reached that level of perfection that we're really striving for. And we're working on trucks right now. So we'll get there. I mean, I think that the Bears and the Paris are excellent. From a value standpoint. But what I'm really looking for is like a solution that really is simple for the customer to digest.
Mm-hmm.
And so in an ideal world, I would put out a truck with appropriate bushings, ready to go for maybe that middle of the road. And if we have to make tweaks for lighter or heavier people, like we have that capacity to do so.
Mm-hmm.
But the sticking point with bears is that there aren't really a whole lot of bushing options right now.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so we have to put these little we call them like top hats for the insert bushing,
Mm.
into the truck, and there's just it's like a lot of aftermarket tweaking to get it right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Anyway, I mean we're working towards it. We're working towards that level of perfection that I strive toward. But the board really is where it is now with the wheel wells. I can run 50-40 setup, or I can run a 40-40 setup and run it flat with 92 millimeter wheels with no risers, which is, and like absolutely no bite, which is just like, that's how you want the board to come out, because you want people to be able to buy it and just have it be and ride it and have it be like perfect out of the box, and they don't have to worry whether they're safe or not.
One more change is the choice of grip tape. So what happened here?
We made it a little bit rougher, but that was just like that really has more to do with just me testing various different grip tapes and just
Mm-hmm.
deciding which ones I like more. The 80 grit options that we have, they're good. but I think the 60 just feels better. It feels higher quality, and it's definitely grippier.
Mm-hmm.
Which for a board that you're pumping, and you want that certainty under your feet. It's really working. And aesthetically, I love the new cut that we put in there. I think it's a great look.
And the other thing that you have changed is that you widened the board a little. So coming from the 6 or the 7 ply version, what would someone that has ridden these boards would expect to be different on the newer one?
Yeah, the width up front is definitely going to make more room for your foot.
Mm-hmm.
I would say it's definitely more comfortable for those riders who are more standing across the deck.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so the previous, I think I want to say it was 9 inches wide. I think with the previous version, and I think it was quite excellent as a race deck at that width, because being streamlined just feels really good for going really fast.
Mm-hmm.
Just like all out pushing down Broadway bomb or something like that. It's like the 9 inch width. I think it made a lot of sense for that purpose. But definitely these are the things that you kind of learn through putting something out there and seeing how it's received. And obviously not everyone is a Broadway bomb style racer, and even the Broadway bomb racers can still probably handle a 9.5-inch deck just fine. That was what was going on in my head. I think I used to, when I was doing all the marathon racing, I raced a 9 inch wide deck,
Yeah.
and for me, I was just like, oh, I just want to keep this thing streamlined and slim. And then experience with customers and feedback and stuff over time has basically said, like, hey, we really prioritize leverage and we prioritize comfort
Mm-hmm.
over that, like your idea of streamlined, all out push racing, which makes sense. I think that's just my inherent bias that goes into design sometimes,
Mm-hmm.
because I have certain ideas about how I might ride something, or yeah, like just what I think is important isn't necessarily always important to the mass of customers.
One question regarding the concave. Did you spread the concave out more, or is it just at the edges?
No, we just widened the deck.
Okay.
I did not need to change the mold. That concave is really mellow.
Mm-hmm.
So widening the deck did not increase the depth of the concave by like
Okay.
any substantial amount. It's still a very comfortable, mostly flat feeling board in the standing platform.
And going forward, the Super Duper Sonic will be the standard Supersonic. So there will no more maple versions or old bamboo versions, right?
Correct. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there's no reason to even touch those boards. It's a better board.
But I also have to do a little complaining because when I bought my first Supersonic to the price of the Supersonic now, they have increased quite substantially. So what's happening there?
Yeah. 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 Well, we get these made in China and
Mm-hmm.
we ship them to our distributor in Europe from China.
Mm-hmm.
So the ideal scenario is that we don't see an insane increase, but
Mm-hmm.
obviously your VAT over there is going to increase incrementally with an incremental
Mm-hmm.
increase in price. So it's gonna increase more
Mm-hmm.
based on that. Um, and it could be a result of us air freighting boards over there. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
logistics is a very real
Yeah.
concern, and I don't know what the shipping costs are over there, if they're going up, like they've gone up over here, which they have.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, we're just kind of always battling logistical, trying to figure out the puzzle, and my guess is that the price has gone up in Europe, probably largely due to logistical things that we can either improve or not. More maybe it's out of our control.
Yeah, it's as I said, it's probably not on you. I mean, of course, I guess with the Wheelwells, a little bit of extra CNCing costs come to the board, but the
Yeah.
prices are reflected much more mellow in the prices in the US than compared to those in Europe, which is I'm thankfully I can afford such a great board and all these premium products that I ride, but it's probably not gonna get easier for probably every kind of sector, I guess.
Oh, it's been an absolute headache, and nightmare dealing with this ongoing uncertainty. We're we're doing our best.
There's not too much to talk about the SuperDuperSonic. I mean, people who have the Supersonic know it's a great board, but let's imagine you have a Supersonic right now. Why would you upgrade to the SuperDuperSonic?
I don't know. I mean, I don't necessarily think that you need to. If it's working great for you as is, like the board is, the Supersonic's always been an excellent board. And I'm not one of those people who's like, you got to get the newest thing. I don't particularly love that side of, I don't want to say capitalism, but
Consumerism, right?
Yeah, consumerism. Thank you. That was the word. I told you I haven't been getting a whole lot of sleep. So, yeah. So, yeah, no, I mean, I'm not like huge into the consumerist, like, got to get the newest thing, and I don't want to represent that. If your board is doing really well for you as is, freaking keep riding it, ride the shit out of it, and as it's wearing out and you need to replace it, we've got the newest and best version that it's ever been.
Yeah.
And if you have the money and you want it and you want the newest best version, I mean, this is definitely it. And I would just ask that you pass a good usable board down to other people who maybe they need a deal, or maybe you're in a position to just give it away to somebody who you care about.
Yeah, that worked out like that for me. I mean, my old Supersonic was full of life. I mean, I drilled holes in there. I did all kinds of shit. It was still working perfectly. Put it on eBay, sold it, and 2 days later, the guy sold it for $100 more. So I guess he made a good deal out of it.
Okay.
But I really wanted to see the new Supersonic. I love the new graphic. I prefer it to the old one personally, but I guess there are two people. The old graphic was also awesome. I don't want to diss it.
Thank you. Yeah, I really like both of them, but yeah, I think the new one, man, it just feels like we really nailed it with that one. And like the other one was obviously, it had like it was like a Sagittarius vibe. So it's like if you're not into that, like it's not necessarily gonna work for you. For me, it was like I am personally a Sagittarius, and my wife is also a Sagittarius, and so it's like I don't even remember why we felt like we wanted to do that specifically. I think it was my wife's idea, and I was just like, let's do it. So,
Then hard question. Let's imagine from now on only one Pantheon graphic on all your boards. Which one?
it would be the original seed graphic. Do you want to see it?
It's the embryo,
Yeah, the embryo.
but
Yeah,
of course, show
yeah,
it.
that one right there.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, that's my favorite graphic. It's also our first graphic ever. So yeah, it's
Lots of sentimental value, I guess.
you, it does have sentimental value for sure. That's definitely part of it.
Okay, sorry for going off topic, but that was just something that came to my head. Okay, then unfortunately, well, not unfortunately, but I guess this is something that a lot of people always ask is, hey, I buy my new Supersonic. How should I set it up? Let's start with trucks, and especially truck angles.
Yeah, yeah, fair. Typically, I'm selling this with Bears or Paris trucks right
Mm-hmm.
now, and I've made it known that we're working on other trucks. Some uh, I've got some prototype
Holy
Valkyries on
shit.
here right now. I'm running 40/30
Mm-hmm.
on this setup, but that's like an aggressive speed setup, I would say, because the ultimate angles, let's see, minus 17, 13 in the back, and 55 up front. I would consider that a pretty aggressive, fast setup. I would say we sell most of our boards with a 50-degree truck on the front.
Really?
Most, yeah. So that runs a 65 up front, and then we do 40 in the back. So that makes it 23 in the back.
Mm-hmm.
So 60, 65, 23. Basically, here's how I think about it. If you run a higher degree front truck,
Mm-hmm.
you're basically asking the front of the board to do most of the work. You're
Mm-hmm.
basically turning it into like a wiggle pump setup. And then as you decrease the angle in the front, you're bringing the energy of the pump more towards the center of the board. So
Mm-hmm.
you're going to push off of the rear a little bit more. When you put a 40 on the front and you run the thing at 55, at that point I would say, you're kind of like you're going to focus more on driving power out of the rear foot. And so that's how I think about it. It's like I would say the easiest way to make the board pump is the wiggle, the higher degree front, because it's just going to be a more simple, less timing oriented motion.
Mm-hmm.
And then as you bring the pump more towards the rear, it's going to require more timing and really like driving with both legs. So you can get more power out of it that way, but
Mm-hmm.
it's going to lose a little bit of its low end ability. So where you might be able to pump at like 8 or 9 miles per hour on a 50-40 setup, maybe you don't start pumping until you're hitting 11, 12 on a 40-40 setup, for example.
Okay, then let me just make this a little quicker. If I would ask you right now, front truck, Paris or Bear?
Fair, because it's a 130, not for any other reason. I just like the slimmer truck.
Okay, which degree then?
I mean, I would just say either 50 or 40, depending on how you want this to feel underfoot.
But I'm asking you.
Right now, I'm trying 40.
Perfect.
But I usually run 50. That's been my primary setup, has been a 50 up front.
Okay, then narrow rear or further away rear? Which position?
Further away.
Okay, and which degree? But by the way,
40.
you also go with the 40-degree bear truck, right?
Yes.
Okay, what about the 30-degree bear truck?
Yeah. Higher top speed.
Okay. Yeah, that works perfectly for me.
Higher top speed, like a really front-focused wiggle pump. One of those two things.
Okay.
As you know, when you run a 0-degree rear, which now we're down in the low teens at a 30, it's going to be a really front-oriented pump. But the cool thing about running a 30 is, like, if you're running a 13 in the rear, that is a really stable platform to be driving power out of. So you can run 50-30 or 40-30 and get that front like zip to it, and then just drive the shit out of that rear and really create a lot of speed out of it. But it's going to take it's not like about efficiency at that point. At that point, it's about having fun and trying to create a high top speed, which is fun.
It truly is, man. The thing I'm running right now is I have a 47 in the front and a 20 in the rear. And this thing is just so piss easy to ride. I'm not the fastest rider. I just want something that's comfortable, and I just want to turn my brain off. And pushing this thing, the flex, I mean, on the old version, I can't say on this one. It feels a little snappier, at least for me. I stood on it a little because, well, that's what I do. But I think with a lower degree rear truck, this thing is it just has so much to offer. It just can do everything pretty easy.
Yeah. It's definitely, like, especially for a rider who's like trying to learn how to push with both feet, for example, if you're a regular pusher, you're used to having your front foot up front, if you have that front really nice and loose, which it looks like you do, because I saw you bend that thing and articulate it. If you have the front really nice and loose and you're learning how to push Mongo, you can steer the board from the rear and still and have good control, because it just turns so easily. But then the rear is so stable, you're not going to lose the board.
Exactly.
So it's a really easy way to learn how to push with both feet.
Yeah, I can completely agree. I made, thankfully, some good progress this year on that, so I'm quite happy with that. But perfect, we went over the board, we went over the trucks. Now let's talk wheels. So with the bear truck, 50-degree, I think the Karma wheels should be pretty good, right?
Yeah, totally. You can run them loose with no riser, no bite.
So I guess that's probably for someone wanting to start out. So having the 130 bears, 50 in the front, Karma wheels. I guess you put a little riser, not a riser, but a shock pad between the trucks, or doesn't even need that?
I don't.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't do that. I'm not a big fan of putting soft things in between my wheels and the board, because in my opinion, like, the more direct of a connection that you can have to controlling the board, the better. So I'm not a soft riser guy. If I put any risers on a board, I'm putting hard risers on it.
Okay, that works as well. So we have the deck, we have the Bear 30 trucks, 50 front, 40 rear, Karma wheels would be the perfect Jeffrey Wine approved setup for the Pantheon Supersonic Complete. SuperDuperSonic Complete, I'm sorry.
I know the Duper. It's like I wasn't sure I wanted to go that far with it, but everybody that I pitched a Duper to, they were like, "You got to do Duper." So it feels silly, but it does let everyone know that it's changed.
Man, I'm pretty sure you fucked over your search engine optimization with that so much.
Oh gosh, no, I probably did.
Yes, we went over all the important topics, the questions that I'm mostly getting under the Supersonic video, the things you're probably getting a lot on your mail. Yeah, we got 15 minutes, but I guess we're fine with that. So the question now is, where are we going from here?
Where are we going from here? Well, I showed you a quick shot of the truck. That's really important to me. I have designed a bushing mold for the truck, so we are going to make sure that everything fits absolutely pristine, perfect together, which to me is just an expression of that kind of like desire to really have full control over making sure that everything is right out of the box. So we're working on a truck. Gosh, where do you go from here from a board standpoint? I mean, honestly, this board feels perfected to me. It feels perfected. Obviously, we are going to listen to feedback and make sure that we can minimize failures and all that stuff. But it's been really solid so far. We've given this board to riders who put a ton of miles on them, and I'm really pleased with it. I've got some other projects in the works. I'm working on a snowboard right now. I'm really excited about that. Yeah, so snow season's coming up, and I can't wait to try that out. From a distance skateboarding standpoint, I don't know. We might see a Quest update here before too long. We're finally running low on quests, which means I get to do something with this board. Not exactly sure what that's going to look like. I'm going to hit up my buddy Paul and see if Paul thinks that the board should change in some way, because that's kind of the board that he uses the most. Yeah, that's kind of where I've got some little things in the work. I'm putting a new core in the Karma wheel, but I almost feel silly saying that because I don't want people to be like, I don't want to buy the old Karma wheel. It's like it's the same wheel. We're just again like trying to absolutely minimize any issues. And so I can show you this. That is a really tight fit with the bearing into the core. And I'm gonna grab another set of wheels. That was the first core I ever designed. And the second core I designed was this freeride core. And this freeride core has a softer entrance for the bearings to fit into the bearing seat. And I like that for assembly more than anything. And I had this other idea with the core and how to make everything fit together. It's kind of hard to explain, and it's probably not worth it to try. But there is just like me redoing our core was again just like striving towards what I would consider something more perfect. We've seen probably, I don't know, 8 or 9 cracked cores out of thousands of sets of wheels sold at this point. So it's like that was part of it, was me just trying to see zero. but I don't know that zero's. I mean, that's a good track record. I'm not like worried about it, but I want to make it perfect. What can I say?
Perfect, but that's looking quite promising. So Quest update and maybe little updates on the wheels works for me. Is there anything that you would still like to say, to share, or to tease?
I showed the truck. I can't think of anything. From a distance standpoint, I think you're seeing everything pretty much. That I just like the Supersonic now is like like I said, I don't know how to make it I don't know how to make it better.
Yeah.
So, and the pranayama is essentially perfect. And I think the trip is so good with the shortfall being the stock bushings and these stock trucks that we're
Hmm.
putting in, which is again why we are creating our own truck, and we want to create our own bushing fitment so that it's that perfect fit. I mean, I can show you. Um, I'm going to show you.
I'm down.
This isn't. What I'm showing you is what I want fixed. Okay.
Yeah.
This is essentially this is essentially my issue with I don't know
Yeah.
if you can see this,
Yeah, I can see that.
but yeah, this can fit. Or sorry, when you change this bushing, this truck is fantastic, right? It's like Paris is the gold standard.
Hmm.
But from a just for me, when I'm shipping decks out of here, it's like, how do I tell a customer that, like, hey, you have to change the bushings on this or else it's going to get wheel bite? I could create a board that doesn't get wheel bite, but it's not going to be with these trucks. It's going to
Mm.
be with 165 millimeter trucks and a longer neck on the board. And it's like, well, I don't want I don't want to do that. I'd be sacrificing the performance of the deck when I know that when we assemble this thing to a high performance standard,
Yeah.
it's perfect. So that's I don't want to give up that that performance just so that I can make the deck more accessible. What I'd rather do is make the deck more accessible by creating a better product fitment.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's I don't think I'm not able to get like the right leverage out of just my hands. When I put this on a board, I can pull the hanger
Mm.
off to the side because there's the space around the bushing that allows it to kind of wiggle around.
Mm.
So anyway, that's essentially that. I'll show you the actual cast truck that we have.
You have teased this one already. So,
Yeah, well, people have seen it,
what?
but
Okay.
they haven't seen it that close. This is the actual cast mold. It's not the final. We're making a very small tweak to it,
Okay.
but it this is essentially a production ready truck right
Hmm.
now. But it just I think we just need we're making some really small little tweaks that are just gonna just to make it a little bit more perfect, I guess. And then this doesn't have our bushings in it, and that's something that we're waiting on some samples of the fresh bushings out of the new bushing mold that'll just completely fill the seat all the way, and really give that. When you fill the bushing seat all the way and you get rid of that like side to side slop, then it allows the truck to just turn, and just to initiate a turn immediately rather than like having that middle slop, and maybe it slides a little bit before it kind of
Hmm.
initiates a turn, or there's slide later in the turn. It's just pure articulation, and it's a better truck that way. So I mean, I feel that way about Bears. I feel that way about Paris. When you fill that bushing seat properly, it makes the truck perform a lot better.
Awesome. Which hanger sizes?
Um, I don't know if I'm allowed to talk about it yet, but I mean, I think people who follow our brand, they know that I'm going to care about the details, so I'm going to make sure that we offer the right details for our customers.
Perfect. That works for me. So once again, anything left to say?
I think that was it. I think I covered it.
Perfect.
Thanks for reaching out. Of course, I appreciate the opportunity to share this stuff with the people who are following you and following our brand, and as always, I appreciate the support. You've been such an awesome thing for the skate community to have this content and really get to experience all the gear through your eyes.
Well, that are some nice final words, I guess. No, thanks, Jeff, for being in this video. We, as always, completely lost track of what we originally wanted to talk about. I had a blast as always. I hope you liked it. And if you're still here, thanks for watching and see you in the next one. Bye.